There are roads you shouldn't drive alone at night. And then, there are the roads where no one dares to venture after dark. Tonight, we'll take you down some of Texas' most haunted highways, where the living aren't the only ones traveling. Stories of restless spirits, ghostly figures, and eerie happenings have followed these roads for generations. But be warned, some things are better left unexplored. Do you have the courage to stay with us until the end? Texas is home to more than just wide-open spaces and endless roads. Over the years, these very highways have earned a reputation for being the final resting places of those who met untimely ends. Spirits of the lost wander these streets, their stories lingering in the air in the darkness. Tonight, we'll drive down 10 of the most haunted roads in the state, places where your headlights might reveal more than you bargained for. But before we begin, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. You don't want to face these roads alone. And by the end of this, you might never want to drive at night again. Haunted Road Number 1, Bragg Road, Ghost Road, Saratoga. Our journey begins in the eerie depths of the Big Thicket, Texas, where Bragg Road, also known as Ghost Road, winds its way through thick forests and darkened paths. This desolate stretch has been the site of countless chilling encounters. What makes this road so unsettling isn't just its isolation, but the strange occurrences that have haunted it for decades. A road forgotten by time, shrouded in the mist of ghostly lore and unsolved mysteries. Bragg Road is no ordinary highway. It's a place where the living meet the dead, and sometimes the dead never leave. The haunting of Bragg Road dates back to the late 1800s, when the area was a bustling railroad hub. One of the most persistent legends is of a railroad worker decapitated in a tragic accident. His body was found, but his severed head was never recovered. Locals say his soul is still searching for it, wandering the very road where he perished. There's also a chilling tale of a honeymooner whose carriage overturned on this very stretch, his bride thrown from the wreckage and lost forever. Could these souls be the ones trapped on Bragg Road, forever reliving the moment of their death, unable to escape the twisted web of their past? Several drivers have claimed to encounter a mysterious floating light, known as the Saratoga Light. Some say it appears as a single, eerie orb bobbing along the road, weaving between trees and rushing toward their vehicles. The moment it reaches the car, it vanishes, leaving the driver stunned and alone in the darkness. Others report seeing ghostly figures near the roadside, shadowy shapes that seem to dart just out of view, only to vanish when they turn to look again. The most terrifying accounts describe the light becoming more aggressive, speeding toward cars with unnatural force before disappearing into the woods. Is it a restless spirit, or just the work of the swamp gas? Or perhaps something much darker? Eyewitnesses report hearing eerie whispers from the trees, and the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. Strange, sudden temperature drops seem to freeze drivers in their tracks, and many claim that their car engines stall in the dead of night, refusing to start until they are overcome with an inexplicable, suffocating sense of dread. Some say they've seen their car lights flicker or dim unexpectedly, as if someone or something was trying to take control of their vehicle. And it's not just isolated stories. Paranormal investigators who ventured down Bragg Road have recorded unsettling EVPs, voices that speak through the static of the dead air, cryptic messages that send chills down your spine. Could these be the whispers of the lost souls, still roaming in search of something they will never find? In recent years, Bragg Road has become a hotspot for paranormal investigations. Teams armed with high-tech equipment have ventured down the path, and the results are chilling. Ghost hunters have captured video footage of unexplained shadows darting across the road, flickering lights that can't be explained by any earthly source, and EVP recordings that seem to call out from the dark, "Help me, find me." The most unnerving evidence? A still frame showing a figure, half seen in the trees, its face obscured, but its eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. What is it? And more importantly, what does it want? If you ever find yourself driving down Bragg Road late at night, make sure you keep your eyes on the road. The shadows here are more than just trees, and the light that seems to approach you from the distance may not be as friendly as it first appears. Will you be the next to feel the chill in the air? To see the light rush toward you, only to vanish before your eyes? Some say that once you encounter it, you are marked forever, haunted by the spirits that call this road their home. And after Bragg Road, we'll take you to another place where death still lingers in the shadows. Haunted Road number 2, Goatman's Bridge, Denton County. Next, we travel to the infamous Goatman's Bridge in Denton County, a place steeped in blood and dark history. What was once a peaceful crossing over the Elm Fork of the Trinity River has now become a place of terror, where whispers of ancient wrongs echo through the night. This bridge, framed by thick, shadowy trees, is not just haunted by the past. It's watched over by something far darker, a creature born from tragedy, vengeance, and death. Those who dare to cross it at night may never return, or at least not unscathed. In the early 1900s, Oscar Washburn, a successful black oat farmer, made a living just outside Denton. His thriving farm and reputation grew, but so did the envy of those around him. In a horrifying act of racism, a mob of Ku Klux Klan members, filled with hatred and fear, kidnapped Washburn and lynched him on the very bridge that now bears the curse of his death. His body was thrown into the river, but his spirit? That's said to haunt the bridge still, seeking vengeance on those who took his life. After his death, eerie sightings began to surface. Reports of a terrifying creature, half man, half goat, wandering the woods and standing guard at the bridge. Locals whisper that this demonic figure is the vengeful spirit of Oscar Washburn, still roaming, waiting to settle the score with those who come too close. If you dare approach Goatman's Bridge, the rules of the night are clear. Never look away, never stop. But the most terrifying part? Some claim that if you flash your headlights 3 times in quick succession, the Goatman himself will appear, his glowing eyes piercing through the darkness. The air grows thick with an unnatural tension, and a low growl echoes through the night. The creature, with horns twisted like those of a ram and a body that seems to flicker between man and beast, emerges from the shadows. His presence is enough to freeze the bravest of souls. Some say that you can feel the weight of his anger in the air, that when you look into his eyes, you're staring into a fury centuries in the making. And once you summon him, there's no telling what he might do next. But it's not just the locals who have felt the terror of Goatman's Bridge. Paranormal investigators have visited the site over the years, hoping to capture proof of its haunting. Many have reported strange occurrences: cameras malfunctioning, sudden temperature drops, and shadows moving unnaturally in the corner of their vision. EVPs have been captured, voices pleading for help, and in some cases, warning anyone who dares approach. The most chilling discovery? One team managed to film what appears to be glowing eyes watching from the bridge's farthest end, only to have the footage mysteriously cut off the moment they attempted to approach. There's someone on that bridge, and it's not waiting to be discovered. It's waiting to claim its next victim. Some say the Goatman doesn't just lurk by the bridge. He follows. Those who have crossed Goatman's Bridge and live to tell the tale speak of the haunting presence that lingers like a shadow just out of sight. The dark figure that stalks them long after they leave, always just on the edge of their vision, growing nearer every time they turn around. Could it be Oscar Washburn, seeking to bring justice for his death? Or is it something far more sinister, a creature of the night, born of darkness and rage, intent on marking those who challenge it? Goatman's Bridge isn't just a place, it's a curse, a warning. If you hear the growl, if the eyes follow you in the dark, you may find yourself trapped in the same fate as those before you. But Goatman's Bridge is only the beginning. Across the state, there are other roads where death never truly leaves. Stay tuned, because the next road we visit is a place where the past and present collide, and not all of its ghosts are human. Haunted Road number 3, Donkey Lady Bridge, San Antonio. Let's head to San Antonio, where the legend of Donkey Lady Bridge haunts drivers who dare to cross at night. tucked away in the shadows of Elm Creek. This bridge is far from ordinary. On most nights, it looks like any other quiet, isolated crossing, but it's the ones who venture too close to midnight who find themselves facing something they can't explain. Something inhuman. Local lore speaks of a woman whose tragedy and rage have become intertwined with this bridge. A creature neither fully human nor fully beast, whose painful cries still echo through the night air. The story goes that many years ago, a woman, once beautiful, once whole, suffered a cruel fate. Her husband, consumed by jealousy or madness, set their house ablaze while she slept, trapping her inside. The flames disfigured her beyond recognition, leaving her with a face horribly burned, fingers fused into twisted, hoof-like stumps. Desperate to escape, she fled the wreckage of her home, but her life had been shattered beyond repair. Consumed by the flames of anger and loss, she was driven mad by the pain, and in that madness, she found herself drawn to the old bridge over Elm Creek, where she died, but not before she cursed the place. Her spirit, it is said, cannot rest. She wanders the bridge at night, seeking revenge for the torment she endured. What makes her haunting so terrifying is not just the sound of her braying cry, the kind you might expect from some foul creature in the dark, but the unmistakable sound of hooves. Hoofbeats echoing on the cold pavement, growing louder, closer, until the very air seems to thicken with dread. Those who've dared to stop on the bridge at night have reported hearing her approach, hooves pounding the earth beneath her as she charges, driven by fury, seeking to claim anyone unlucky enough to be in her path. Witnesses who have passed by Donkey Lady Bridge at night often speak of a heavy, oppressive feeling that takes over as they near the structure. The air grows cold, and the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. Then comes the sound, a low, mournful bray that seems to come from everywhere at once. Before they can react, the deafening thud of hooves on the bridge reaches them. Some report finding hoof-shaped dents or scratches on their cars the next morning, marks as if something heavy and relentless had attacked them in the dark. Those who've been unlucky enough to encounter her spirit say she doesn't just stop at the car, she chases. A grotesque figure, half woman, half beast, sprinting after them, arms outstretched, her grotesque form casting an unnerving shadow in the headlights. The terrifying part? Her hooves don't just pound the earth. They seem to follow, gaining on her victims with every passing second, closing in on them with an unnatural speed. Some say her spirit doesn't just chase, she's after something far worse. It's not just revenge she seeks. It's to drag anyone who crosses her path into the very depths of her torment, forcing them to relive her suffering. Those who survived encounters with her speak of the overwhelming sense of dread that lingers long after they've left the bridge, as if the Donkey Lady's rage has marked them forever. The question remains, will you be the next victim of the Donkey Lady? Or will you be the one to escape her curse, knowing full well that there's a creature in the dark waiting for you to come back? Some say that once you encounter the Donkey Lady, you become a part of her story, bound to the bridge forever. The next time you're out driving through the darkened corners of San Antonio, ask yourself, would you be brave enough to cross the bridge? Or would you rather stay away, letting the whispers of those who vanished in the night remain a chilling reminder of the nightmare that haunts Elm Creek? And as we leave this haunted place, remember, there are more roads waiting for us, each with their own deadly secrets. Haunted Road number 4, Demon's Road, Bowden Road, Huntsville. Bowden Road, located just outside Huntsville, Texas, is infamous for its dark and twisted history. Known to locals as Demon's Road, this stretch of asphalt takes you deep into the heart of eerie, unsettling woods and the ancient Marfa Chapel Cemetery, a place where the past never truly dies and the spirits are never at rest. The very air here feels heavier than it should, thick with a suffocating presence, as though something is watching, waiting. Those who dare to drive down Bowden Road at night often find themselves more than just lost. They find themselves hunted by something that wasn't meant to be. something that lingers in the shadows of the trees, just beyond the reach of the headlights, watching with glowing eyes. Bowden Road isn't just a road. It's a portal to something dark, something far older than the small town of Huntsville. The first reports of strange occurrences on this road surfaced over a century ago, when it became notorious for its proximity to the Marfa Chapel Cemetery, a burial ground with a chilling history of death and despair. But it wasn't just the cemetery that raised suspicions. It was what lay beyond the cemetery's gates. Local legends tell of glowing red eyes emerging from the trees, watching travelers who dared to pass through. Some say the eyes belong to restless souls, trapped between this world and the next. Others speak of a more sinister presence, an ancient, malevolent force that haunts the land. The most unsettling part of Demon's Road is the small, narrow stretch near the cemetery. It's here where the trees seem to close in and the shadows grow unnaturally long, that travelers have reported seeing strange, shadowy figures darting across the road, moving too fast to be human, and vanishing into the dense forest on either side. But it's not just the shadows that make this road infamous. It's the feeling of being watched by something far worse, something intent on judging anyone who dares to venture too close. And then there's the story of the boy. A small child, always seen riding a tricycle in the middle of the road. His eyes burn with an unnatural, fiery light, as though they're glowing from within, and his presence sends a cold chill down your spine. Local folklore says that if you see the boy, it's already too late. He sensed something within you, something dark, something wrong, and he will follow. You may drive away, but his ghostly form will linger in your rearview mirror, his tiny figure never wavering, always in pursuit. Some say the boy is a harbinger of doom, sent to drag you down into the depths of the cemetery, where souls like his are bound, forever lost. It's not just the sight of the boy that chills you to the core. It's the sounds, the screeching of his tricycle wheels scraping against the pavement, echoing through the night, followed by the unsettling sound of footsteps, too light to be real, but undeniably present. And then there are the hands. Disembodied hands that reach from the graves in the cemetery, clawing their way toward the road, desperate to pull you down into the earth. Eyewitnesses have described seeing these ghostly hands, pale and gaunt, emerging from the soil, their fingers curling around the edges of the road, as if trying to drag the living into the cold, dark grave where they've been waiting for so long. One particularly disturbing account came from a couple who drove down Bowden Road late one evening. As they passed the cemetery, they heard a loud thud on their car roof. The woman screamed as she looked out the window, seeing nothing but darkness. But when they checked the roof, they found strange, muddy handprints, deep, claw-like marks, as if someone had tried to pull them from their car and into the cemetery. The couple fled, terrified, but the sight of the hands on their roof stayed with them forever. No one knows exactly who or what those hands belong to, but one thing is certain. They're not waiting for you to stop. Some locals believe that the dark forces lurking along Demon's Road are not just spirits, but are tied to something far more nefarious. A cult that once practiced dark rituals in the woods surrounding Marfa Chapel Cemetery. Whispers abound about occult activity, strange symbols etched into the trees, and shadows that move in ways they shouldn't. Some say that these rituals opened a gateway, a rift between the living and the dead, unleashing something ancient and powerful. Whatever stalks Demon's Road is far more than a restless spirit. It's a force, a darkness that feeds on the fears of the living, waiting for the next soul to wander too close. Demon's Road isn't a place where you just drive through. It's a place where you are tested, where the darkness watches, where the spirits judge, and where the living are marked for something worse. If you ever find yourself driving down Bowden Road, be careful where you look, because there are things in the dark that you might not be able to escape. The boy, the eyes, the hands, each one a reminder that Demon's Road doesn't let go. And as we leave this haunted stretch behind, remember, not every road is meant to be traveled alone. Our next destination is even darker, and the spirits there, they don't just watch, they wait. Haunted Road number 5, Stagecoach Road, Marshall. Stagecoach Road, deep in the heart of Marshall, Texas, has long been a highway soaked in history and haunted by its violent past. Once a vital route for travelers, this rugged, deeply rutted path winds through a thick pine canopy, casting long shadows that seem to reach out and swallow anyone who dares to pass. The road's violent history is etched into its very ground, where bandits, outlaws, and countless souls have met grisly ends. Though it may look like any other rustic, forgotten stretch of land during the day, once the sun sets, Stagecoach Road transforms into a place where the past refuses to stay buried. Those who venture down this haunted hollow know that something waits just beyond the trees, watching, ready to remind you that some histories are never forgotten. Stagecoach Road earned its infamous reputation during the 1800s, when it was a major artery for stagecoaches traveling between the east and west. But over time, it became more than just a road. It became a haven for criminals, outlaws, and the desperate. The thick woods surrounding it hid countless ambushes, and the cries of the victims who met their end at the hands of ruthless bandits echoed through the trees for years. Ghost stories tied to Stagecoach Road are as old as the road itself, but none are as unsettling as the tale of the woman in white. Legend has it that she was a grieving mother whose children drowned under tragic circumstances. Broken by grief, she wandered the woods for days, calling out for them in vain. But her suffering didn't end there. Her life was claimed in a brutal murder, the identity of her killer lost to history. Now, it's said her ghost haunts the road, wailing in anguish as she searches for the children she could not save. Her spectral figure is often seen walking along the road, her tattered white gown fluttering in the breeze as she calls out for those she's lost. Her mournful cries filling the night air, haunting anyone who dares to drive the road. But the woman in white isn't the only spirit who walks this cursed stretch of land. In the darkened corners of the woods, some travelers claim to see the ghost of a voodoo queen from New Orleans. Known only by the strange symbol she carries, this ghostly figure roams the woods, a symbol of pain, vengeance, and dark magic. She's said to be the spirit of a woman who escaped slavery and fled to Texas, only to meet a violent and untimely death at the hands of those who feared her power. Her spectral presence still lingers on Stagecoach Road, a reminder of the long history of suffering that has soaked the soil beneath. As night falls and the eerie shadows stretch across Stagecoach Road, the spirits seem to stir. The oppressive atmosphere that hangs in the air is thick with the weight of untold stories, and travelers have reported strange occurrences as they make their way down the road. Perhaps the most chilling phenomenon is the sound, a sudden, sickening thud followed by a jarring metallic scrape. It's the sound of something heavy landing on your car roof, something far worse than just a passing branch. Eyewitnesses who have heard this sound claim to have looked up only to find nothing above them. Yet the thud persists, as though the body of a hanged man is swinging from the spectral branches above. There's a story of a truck driver who, years ago, drove down Stagecoach Road late one night. As he passed the pine trees, he heard the unmistakable sound, a heavy thud on the roof of his truck. He slammed on the brakes, terrified, but found nothing when he stopped. But when he checked his roof, there was a mark, the imprint of a hand, and a lingering feeling of something, someone watching him from the darkness. The experience left him shaken, and he never drove down Stagecoach Road again. But it isn't just the sounds that chill the blood. The temperature on Stagecoach Road drops suddenly, an unnatural cold that seeps into your bones, as though the ghosts themselves are leaning in closer, brushing against you, their cold fingers reaching out to pull you into their world. And the eyes, those who dare to walk through the woods near the road have spoken of glowing eyes, lurking just beyond the trees, staring at them from the darkness. Eyes that don't belong to animals, and certainly don't belong to anything living. Eyes that burn with an unnatural light, watching, waiting, as if judging every step you take. And then there are the hands. When the shadows grow long and the air thickens with dread, it's not just the wailing woman or the glowing eyes that haunt Stagecoach Road. It's the feeling of being grabbed. Travelers who have stopped to rest on the road have reported feeling cold, clammy hands reaching up from the graves that line the cemetery, clutching at their legs, their arms. Some claim the hands even reach into their vehicles, trying to pull them out. Those who've driven down the road in the dead of night have described their cars being jolted, as though something is trying to drag them off the road and into the darkness. Is it the spirits of the murdered outlaws? Or is it something darker, something older that watches from the graves? No one really knows. But one thing is for sure, the handprints left on your car's windows are not of this world. And neither is the presence that follows you after you pass through. Stagecoach Road doesn't just hold ghosts of the past. It holds a warning for anyone who dares to tread too close to its haunted grounds. If you listen carefully, you can hear the wail of the woman in white, the scrape of unseen hands against your car, and the unmistakable sound of a body swinging from the trees. Stagecoach Road will test your courage, your sanity, and your belief in the supernatural. And when you leave, don't be surprised if you feel that you're being followed, because sometimes when you drive through a place like this, you carry something home with you. But this haunted road is only one of many in Texas, each with its own dark history. Our next stop is even more chilling, where the land itself seems to reject the living. Are you ready to face the next road on our journey? You won't want to miss it. Haunted Road number 6, Devil's Backbone, FM 32, SH 281 area. Texas Hill Country. The Devil's Backbone, a winding stretch of road nestled in the heart of Texas Hill Country, may seem like just another scenic highway by day. Its breathtaking views, rolling hills, and limestone ridges create a picturesque landscape that attracts travelers seeking peace and beauty. But come nightfall, this road transforms into something much darker, an ancient, unsettled place where the whispers of history stir the air. The land, soaked in centuries of conflict, is said to echo with the sounds of ghostly soldiers and restless spirits, their presence lingering long after their deaths. It's a road that promises a sight to behold, but for those who dare to drive it after dark, the sights might be more than they bargained for. Devil's Backbone earned its name not from the rugged hills that tower over the road, but from the violent history that surrounds it. Once a key path for settlers making their way across the Texas frontier, the area was steeped in bloodshed during the Civil War and the early years of colonization. The limestone ridge itself is said to be haunted by Confederate soldiers, whose anguished cries can still be heard on the wind. Some claim that as you drive through the hills at night, you can see the figures of these spectral soldiers riding their phantom steeds, galloping through the mist, chasing the sound of their lost battle cries. But it's not only the spirits of fallen soldiers that haunt Devil's Backbone. The area is also home to Native American spirits, disturbed from their eternal resting places by the violence that stained the land. The indigenous tribes who once roamed this land left behind sacred grounds, and some say that when the sun sets, the spirits of those who were displaced from their ancestral homes return to claim what was taken from them. The Native American presence is said to be strong here, their spirits restless, roaming the hills and valleys, seeking justice for the blood that was spilled long ago. Travelers who have driven the Devil's Backbone at night tell of an eerie stillness that hangs over the road, a silence so thick that even the chirping of crickets seems to disappear. The oppressive air seems to close in around you, and before long, it's not just the sound of the road beneath your tires that fills your ears, it's the soft sounds of hoofbeats, echoing just beyond the reach of your headlights. Some report seeing figures on horseback, galloping through the fog, their bodies faint and translucent. The ghostly soldiers are said to ride along the ridge, following the path of battle they never truly left. These spectral riders are often seen when the fog rolls in, and for those unlucky enough to encounter them, the chill that sweeps over them is enough to freeze their bones. But the spirits don't stop there. In addition to the Confederate soldiers and Native American spirits, There are tales of a pioneer family whose cabin, built in the area long ago, would shake violently at night, as if the very earth beneath it had come alive. The wind would howl through the hills, but it wasn't the wind that caused the trembling. No, it was the presence of something unseen. The family would hear heavy footsteps outside their door, the sound of muffled voices, and the feeling of being watched, even when no one was there. Some believe that the family's tragic end was tied to the violence in the region, their spirits now haunting the area, unable to find peace. The most terrifying aspect of Devil's Backbone is the sensation that something is always just beyond your reach, lurking in the darkness. As you drive down this lonely stretch of road, you might feel a sudden, bone-chilling cold spot, a stark contrast to the warm air that envelopes you just moments before. Your headlights might catch something in the distance, a figure on horseback, riding swiftly through the fog, only for it to vanish when you blink. The sound of distant gunshots sometimes echoes through the hills, and if you listen closely, you might hear the faint sounds of a battle being fought once again, the screams of soldiers lost in time, the clash of metal, the cries of agony carried on the wind. No matter how many times you pass through, the war seems to never end. Devil's Backbone is more than just a road. It's a graveyard of forgotten battles and restless spirits, a place where the past refuses to die. The soldiers, the pioneers, the Native Americans, they're all still here, still fighting their wars, still searching for the peace that was stolen from them. If you dare to drive these hills, be prepared to face the past head-on, for the spirits that walk this road are never far behind. And as we leave Devil's Backbone behind us, know this: there are more roads that carry the weight of history, where the spirits of the dead are never quite as dead as we'd like to believe. Our next destination is one where the darkness feels alive, and the history is far more than a memory. It's something that's waiting to pull you into its depths. Haunted Road Number 7, Patterson Road, Houston. Patterson Road, located near Langham Creek in Houston, Texas, may appear to be an ordinary stretch of asphalt by daylight. But after the sun sets and darkness consumes the land, this road becomes something much darker, an unforgiving scar left by history. The area is said to be haunted by the tragic echoes of the Civil War, where the blood of Union sympathizers was spilled by Confederate soldiers in a brutal, unrecorded massacre. Today, Patterson Road is a notorious paranormal hotspot, where strange occurrences and unsettling phenomena happen regularly. But what truly makes this road infamous isn't just the violent history. It's the sorrow that lingers in the very air itself, waiting for anyone brave enough to pass through. Though much of Patterson Road's history remains shrouded in mystery, legends point to a dark and bloody conflict that took place during the Civil War. According to local lore, Confederate soldiers ambushed and slaughtered a group of Union sympathizers here, their cries of terror and anguish forever imprinted in the land. Some say the massacre took place in broad daylight. Others say it was in the dead of night, hidden away from the eyes of the world. But what is certain is that the violence on this stretch of road was senseless, and it was tragic. Those who perished here, their lives cut short by hate and bloodshed, were never given the chance to rest. And now, their restless spirits haunt this cursed place, forever seeking release from the violence that claimed them. The stories of the haunting are chilling. Drivers passing down Patterson Road late at night have reported their vehicles stalling without warning, their engines sputtering out for no apparent reason. The eerie quiet of the road is suddenly pierced by the unnerving sound of tapping, loud and persistent, as though invisible hands are tapping on the car windows or the roof, desperately trying to get in. Some drivers claim they've looked out the window, only to find nothing but darkness. Yet, the tapping continues. It's as if unseen, angry spirits are trying to reach them, to pull them into the darkness that's already claimed so many before. But the tapping is not the only disturbance. Eyewitnesses tell of something far more unsettling. Phantom soldiers, pale and translucent, appearing along the roadside. They're often glimpsed out of the corner of the eye, figures standing motionless, watching the passing vehicles. And just as quickly as they appear, they vanish into the darkness, disappearing the moment headlights are shined upon them. There's no time to react, no time to wonder if your mind is playing tricks. These figures simply fade away, leaving nothing but the uneasy feeling that they're still watching, waiting. The emotional atmosphere on Patterson Road is unlike anything experienced on most other haunted roads. There's a palpable heaviness in the air, a sense of sorrow that suffocates the very breath of those who drive through it. Many who have stopped to investigate have reported a crushing wave of sadness that seems to weigh on their hearts. It's as if the very air is thick with the sorrow of the dead, the echoes of past screams, the dying breaths of soldiers and civilians who never had a chance to escape the violence. It's an emotional weight that's impossible to ignore, one that seems to seep into your bones and never leave. Perhaps the most unnerving aspect of Patterson Road's haunting is the feeling that you're not alone. Travelers who have ventured down the road at night often speak of an overwhelming sense of being watched, of eyes that follow them from the shadows, lingering long after they've passed. Some report feeling as though the very earth beneath their feet is alive, as if the ground is restless with the souls of the fallen, waiting for someone to make the mistake of stopping for too long. The tapping on your windows isn't just a warning, it's a beckoning, a call from the other side, inviting you to join those who never made it out. Patterson Road isn't a place you want to linger on. The spirits here are not at rest, and their presence isn't something to be taken lightly. If you find yourself driving through the heart of Houston's darkest road, be prepared. The tapping, the phantoms, and the overwhelming sorrow will follow you long after you've left. And as you drive away, you may find that the sadness doesn't fade. It stays with you, clinging to your every thought. What happened here cannot be undone, and the spirits who linger will never forget. But Patterson Road is only one chapter of this terrifying tale. The next stop on our journey is even darker, where the land itself seems to reject the living, and the spirits don't just wander. They hunt. Stay with us as we travel deeper into the unknown, where death never truly leaves and the past is still alive and waiting. Haunted Road number 8, Loop 1604, San Antonio. San Antonio's Loop 1604 may seem like any other highway, a wide, bustling road connecting various neighborhoods and highways. By day, it's a lifeline for commuters. But when the sun sets and the city's lights fade into the distance, Loop 1604 transforms into something much darker. This sprawling highway, with its endless stretches and long, quiet corners, has become a hotbed for supernatural encounters. It's not just one isolated stretch of road. Loop 1604 is a labyrinth of ghost stories where every mile holds a chilling tale. From vanishing hitchhikers to ghostly figures, this highway is home to some of the most persistent and terrifying paranormal occurrences in San Antonio. Loop 1604's dark reputation is as long as the road itself. For decades, locals have whispered about the dancing KKK ghosts, one of the most chilling legends tied to this highway. Travelers claim to have seen spectral figures dressed in white hoods and robes, standing ominously by the roadside. But it's when the sun dips below the horizon that these figures come to life. According to eyewitnesses, they begin to move, performing eerie rituals in the middle of the road, their ghostly forms dancing in silence under the dim glow of the streetlights. The most unsettling part? The sheer malevolence in their movements. The figures seem to be performing an ancient, haunting dance of death, as though reenacting a ritual lost to time, one that draws power from the darkness itself. Some say these ghosts are the spirits of the Ku Klux Klan, their souls forever bound to the land where they once spread fear and hate. The isolated stretches of Loop 1604, particularly the older parts of the highway, are said to be where these ghostly apparitions appear most often, as if they're drawn to the remnants of their own violent history. But the KKK ghosts aren't the only spirits that call Loop 1604 home. There are other, more sinister entities that haunt this highway, some with a much darker purpose. Vanishing hitchhikers are a common sight, seen walking along the shoulder late at night, their figures appearing out of nowhere, only to disappear without a trace. Those brave enough to pull over often find no trace of the person once they step out of their vehicle. It's as if the hitchhikers never existed. Their form's nothing but a figment of the imagination, or perhaps something more malevolent, waiting to lure drivers into the unknown. And then there are the ghostly vehicles. Drivers on Loop 1604 have reported seeing cars that appear out of nowhere, their headlights flickering in the distance. Some have followed these phantom cars, only to watch in horror as they vanish in a thin air, disappearing around corners or fading into the night as if they were never there at all. It's not just a trick of the eyes. These ghost vehicles often travel at speeds far greater than what any living person could manage, their engines roaring through the night, yet leaving no trace of exhaust or sound. The most terrifying part? Some claim that the phantom cars seem to be actively chasing them, as if the spirits of the dead are attempting to claim another soul, dragging it back into the darkness from which they came. The sheer length of Loop 1604 means that this highway is a place where multiple spirits dwell, each with its own tragic and terrifying tale. Some of these entities are said to be the restless souls of those who died on the road. Fatal accidents, hit-and-runs, and violent crimes have left their mark on this highway. And while their spirits may be trapped between this world and the next, their encounters with the living can be chilling reminders that some souls are not ready to let go. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of Loop 1604 is the feeling of being watched. Those who have driven this road late at night speak of an overwhelming sense of dread that seems to grip the soul as they pass through the darker, quieter sections. The very air feels heavy, thick with a presence that can't be explained. And then, just when you think you're safe, the headlights of another vehicle appear in your rearview mirror. You glance back, there's no one there. The vehicle is gone, as though it melted into the darkness. It's a feeling that stays with you long after you leave the highway, as if something followed you, just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to make its presence known. Loop 1604 may seem like just another road in San Antonio, but beneath its asphalt lies a network of stories and spirits that refuse to rest. The KKK ghosts, the phantom vehicles, the hitchhikers, they're all part of the highway's dark and haunted legacy. And as you drive down this winding, lonely road, you may find that the spirits of the past are never far behind, waiting for the chance to draw you into their tragic and terrifying tales. But Loop 1604 isn't the only haunted road in Texas. Our next destination takes us to a place where history and darkness collide in the most chilling way imaginable. Are you ready to find out where the next road leads? Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Haunted Road Number 9. Highway 90, near Marfa, toward Paisano Pass. Highway 90, stretching through the heart of West Texas, is a desolate and lonely road that cuts through the expansive, barren landscape toward the infamous Paisano Pass. By day, it's just another highway, flanked by the vast, empty desert. But when night falls, the highway takes on a different nature. The air becomes thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the occasional gust of wind sweeping across the land. Here, in the dark of the night, travelers report more than just the haunting, unexplained Marfa Lights dancing in the distance. There are encounters that leave drivers questioning their sanity, where the desert itself seems to come alive, pulling you into its deep, ancient mysteries. Someone lurks in the shadows here, watching, waiting. Highway 90 has long been associated with the Marfa Lights, those eerie, dancing orbs of light that appear in the distance, shifting unpredictably across the dark desert. For years, they've baffled scientists and paranormal enthusiasts alike, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions. But while these lights are the most famous phenomenon tied to this stretch of road, they are far from the only one. As night falls, the true unease of Highway 90 comes into focus, as if the very land itself is hiding secrets, waiting for the right person to wander into its grasp. Several travelers along this highway have reported encountering phantom headlights, gliding through the darkness, seemingly belonging to no vehicle at all. At first, they might seem like an approaching car, the faint glow of headlights growing closer. But as the driver continues on, the vehicle never appears in the rearview mirror, and the headlights remain just beyond reach, flickering like a mirage in the desert night. Some have even attempted to pull over, thinking that a vehicle might need help, but when they look around, nothing. The headlights vanish, leaving nothing but the vast emptiness of the desert. But it isn't just the disappearing headlights that fill drivers with dread. The highway itself seems to pulse with an eerie, invisible presence. Travelers speak of a feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes are tracking their every move. The vast desert, empty and silent in the day, becomes an oppressive force at night. The darkness presses in, and the air grows heavy with the sensation of being far from safety. Some who have ventured into this isolation report feeling a sudden coldness, a strange chill that settles in their bones despite the warm desert air. The sensation is so intense, it feels as though the land itself is alive, watching and waiting. The most unsettling reports from travelers on Highway 90, however, are those of shadowy figures standing still on the roadside. These figures are often seen briefly illuminated by the car's headlights, but when the driver blinks or turns away, they vanish as if they were never there at all. These figures, typically described as tall and human-shaped, are sometimes seen motionless in the distance, waiting in the middle of the highway or standing on the shoulder, as if caught in time. But the longer you look, the more they seem to melt into the desert darkness, swallowed whole by the vastness of the land. In some cases, drivers have reported that the figures don't just vanish, they move. These spectral forms seem to glide just out of the driver's line of sight, always staying just on the edge of the headlights' reach. They're not aggressive, but there's something deeply unsettling about their presence. It's as though they don't belong, like they are part of the land itself, remnants of a past so ancient and mysterious that their presence defies explanation. And yet, every time you try to focus on them, they disappear into the desert, as if the vast emptiness of the land can swallow them up at will. There's an even darker, more sinister element to these encounters. The figures and the lights, though strange, may only be a part of a deeper mystery tied to the land itself. Some locals believe that these shadowy figures are not merely ghosts. They're spirits bound to the desert, remnants of a long-forgotten past. Ancient Native American tribes once roamed this land, and some say their spirits still walk the desert, trapped between worlds. Other reports suggest that travelers have seen these figures not as isolated forms, but as part of a larger procession, walking slowly across the road, as though reliving some ancient, ritualistic journey. And then, there are those who claim they've encountered something far worse. In one chilling account, a woman driving alone on Highway 90 late at night described how, just before entering Paisano Pass, her car stalled, its engine dead despite no apparent reason. She stepped out, thinking it was just a mechanical failure. As she opened the hood, the air grew cold, and she looked up to see a figure, a tall, looming man standing at the edge of the road. When she looked away for a second, he was gone. But the feeling that something or someone was watching her stayed with her, lingering as she drove away. Some say that once you feel this presence, it never leaves. You are marked by the desert itself. The eerie encounters on Highway 90 are not just tricks of the mind. They are part of a larger, terrifying reality. The desert hides its secrets well, but the spirits that walk its expanse are not as hidden as they seem. The Marfa Lights are just the beginning of the mysteries this road holds. The phantom headlights, the shadowy figures, the sensation of being watched, each one adds to the growing legend of Highway 90. And as we leave this desolate stretch of road behind, remember, there are places where the land itself carries the weight of the past. where the spirits of those long gone still walk among us. Our next stop takes us to a place where the land itself has seen more bloodshed than most can imagine. And the spirits that linger there, they aren't just shadows, they're waiting to claim the living. Stay with us, because the road ahead leads to something much darker, and it's far from over. Haunted Road Number 10, Texas State Highway 87. Boulevard Peninsula section before Hurricane Ike and lingering tales. Before the devastation of Hurricane Ike swept through the Boulevard Peninsula and reshaped much of Texas State Highway 87, this coastal road was already steeped in chilling legend and ghostly tales. The stretch of highway that still survives holds echoes of the past, whispers of lost souls, sorrowful apparitions, and a connection to the land itself that cannot be broken. The very atmosphere here is thick with the weight of tragedy, and while the highway may appear calm during the day, it's the nights and storms that bring the true terror to life. As the wind howls and the waves crash against the shore, those who drive this road may find themselves haunted not just by the living, but by the spirits of the dead, those claimed by the unforgiving Gulf and its shifting sands. Highway 87 along the Boulevard Peninsula is as much a road of sorrow as it is a road of beauty. The ocean, stretching endlessly on one side, is breathtaking, but it also holds a darker history. Stories abound of ghostly figures walking the desolate beaches near the road, their outlines barely visible in the moonlight. Most of these tales stem from the region's tumultuous past, shaped by violent storms and the victims they claimed. In particular, one legend has endured for generations. A tale of a woman, her heartbroken spirit forever tied to the land she lost to a storm. The woman is said to have lost her children to a fierce, unpredictable storm long before Hurricane Ike ravaged the area. As the waves swallowed her home, she screamed out their names, but it was too late. The storm, as brutal as it was merciless, swept them away and left nothing but wreckage behind. Desperate, she searched the beach for days, her cries carried on the sea breeze, but she never found her children. The legend claims that even now, her figure can be seen walking the shoreline, her mournful cries carried on the wind, searching for the children she lost to the Gulf. And while some think the woman's spirit might have moved on, others swear that the cries still haunt the coast, especially on nights when the wind picks up and the waves grow fierce. But it isn't just the sorrowful spirit of the woman that haunts this road. The ghostly blue light cemeteries are another disturbing part of the legend. Drivers traveling down the remaining stretches of Highway 87 have reported seeing strange lights appearing at the edges of the road, flickering in the distance like blue lanterns floating in the air. Some say these lights mark the locations of graves, old, forgotten cemeteries washed away by the storms. But the lights don't behave like anything natural. They flicker in patterns too erratic to be explained, disappearing when you try to approach, only to appear again further down the road. Those who have stopped to investigate the lights report feeling a deep sense of unease, as if something or someone is watching from just beyond their reach. The air grows heavy, thick with the smell of salt and decay. The sound of the waves crashing is louder now, almost as if the sea is trying to warn you or to draw you in. And just when you think you've imagined it all, you hear something else, the soft, slow tapping on your car window, or the faint sound of a woman's voice whispering from the darkness. Is it the wind, or is the woman herself calling out for help? The line between reality and the supernatural seems to blur as you drive further down this haunted stretch of road. As if the phantom lights and the wailing woman weren't enough, there's another eerie detail that few are brave enough to confront. The sensation that the land itself is alive. It is as though the highway, the beach, and the very air are inextricably tied to the spirits that roam this place. Some drivers report a sudden, overwhelming sense of sorrow that seems to fill their chest, like a weight pressing down on them, as though the ghosts of the storm victims are reaching out to them, trying to pull them into the Gulf with them. The grief that haunts this road is so intense, so thick, it's almost as though it's contagious. a sorrow you can't shake even after you leave. Some say that those who spent too long on Highway 87 at night feel forever tied to the road, forever haunted by the spirits they encountered, unable to escape the sadness that lingers in the air. Highway 87 isn't just a road. It's a reminder of the lives lost to the Gulf, the lives that will never be found. As you drive this stretch of highway, be careful where you look and where you stop, because the spirits that walk this road are not content to stay in the past. They're still searching, still crying, still calling out for those who are lost. And if you happen to pass by them in the dark, you may never truly leave. As the road twists into the night, know this: the mysteries of the land are far from over. These roads in Texas are more than just haunted, they're cursed. The next time you're driving through the Lone Star State, make sure you keep your eyes on the road, because you never know what or who you might encounter. Remember, some roads were never meant to be traveled again. Stay safe and don't dare to drive them alone. If you enjoyed these spine-chilling tales, hit the like button, subscribe to Real Ghost Stories, and ring the bell so you never miss a terrifying story. Share your own ghostly encounters in the comments below. We might just feature them in our next video. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay spooky, and remember, the road may be long, but the spirits are always closer than you think.